ask you, please, Meghan, what is your favorite dish to cook for the family?
That's a tough one.
Meghan Markle, reportedly snubbed by yet another celebrity, and now apparently at war with Martha Stewart. When will she get the message?
Oh, dear. Isn't that sweet? Big balloons, tiny tiaras, and Harry filming Meghan like she just won a Nobel Prize for simply existing. You ever notice how some people don't just live their lives, but turn everything into a starring role? That's exactly what we're seeing here, and Meghan seems to be playing the lead. She staged what looked like a full-blown tribute. On her birthday, she jumped into a pool and struck a pose that immediately reminded people of Princess Diana. Same kind of pose, same dramatic mood, same carefully built mythology. She's celebrating 45 years around the sun, yet somehow it still feels like we're watching the opening act.
Oh dear.
And seriously, who knows how long it took to get those legs positioned just right? That's Meghan Markle, the same woman who has spent years building a very specific royal image around herself, while Harry keeps stepping right back into the same storyline. Part of him, you might think, believes that if he waits long enough and looks closely enough, somehow that old royal connection will come alive again. That's one reason this whole saga gets so much attention. It's not just another Hollywood gossip story. It's a real-time lesson in image, branding, and perception.
Lifestyle genius has just scored the ultimate revenge, brutally exposing her, ironically, via the Sussex propaganda organ People magazine, as being a big fat gossip of breaking all of those private agreements that Prince Harry had made with King Charles.
Most people don't recreate emotionally loaded images of their spouse's late mother for a birthday photo shoot. And most people don't have their own companies publicly celebrating their birthday either, like Meghan did. That wasn't simply marketing for as ever. It felt like a carefully designed publicity loop, where the personal brand and the birthday celebration became almost impossible to separate. Most people can easily name a favorite dish they make for their kids, yet the person presenting herself as a lifestyle expert still faces questions about what actually happens behind the polished image.
Now seeing them every morning brings me such joy. I got inside to arrange it. I've let go of the idea of perfection.
That's why the last 14 days weren't really about Meghan celebrating Meghan or even complaining about her new movie, Cookie Queens, getting crushed by a collection of cat videos. It was brand maintenance wrapped around bad news, with a little armchair psychology thrown in. Harry had lost his court case, reportedly costing him millions. Canadian taxpayers were once again talking about the couple's security bill. Oprah passed on another interview sequel, and Elon Musk somehow got pulled into the Sussex drama. But the final course was served by none other than Martha Stewart.
Let's flip this so we can make this.
She delivered the kind of moment that sent the whole story into another direction. And honestly, after all these years covering Harry and Meghan, I've rarely seen anything quite like it. Two people who seem so uncomfortable simply being themselves, constantly reaching for another identity, another image, another version of success. Think about it. Harry sometimes appears to want Prince William's status without the royal duties.
Dinner with Meghan Markle the other night. Well, she was at the same table. So I can't say, she wasn't my guest. I was a guest. We were both guests at a dinner party in California. And she had just gotten back from the palace. And I think I didn't talk to her really more than to say a couple words, but I know she was talking about it. If you're an actress, it's hard to then transition to a princess, and then from a princess into a homemaking guru on a television show. It doesn't sort of follow. So
Meghan's image has moved through one identity after another, from actress and blogger to feminist, philanthropist, podcaster, chef, lifestyle figure, and Hollywood personality. It's an exhausting list. At times it feels less like one clear career and more like a constant search for the next role. And really, think about that journey. First came acting, then blogging, activism, charity work, podcasting, cooking, lifestyle branding, and reality television. The list keeps growing.
And I don't really know very well. And I hope she knows what she's talking about. Authenticity to me is everything.
It can feel like she's constantly trying on someone else's wardrobe instead of settling into one identity that feels completely her own. After years of celebrity connections and carefully built public moments, the circle now seems to have come right back to the beginning. Meghan is once again playing the influencer, except there's one tiny problem. This time, the influencing itself looks influenced! Some people borrow other people's ideas because they panic. Others do it because they've made a habit of it. But in Montecito, imitation can start looking less like flattery and more like the entire business strategy. And the same idea applies to people. Meghan's public image often seems built around one simple rule: proximity equals intimacy. If she's standing next to someone, suddenly they're presented like longtime friends. Take a picture together. Now there's a deep personal connection. Sit at the same table as Martha Stewart. Suddenly it sounds like an intimate dinner between close companions.
Grew up with that, watching Jeopardy and having a lot of fast food. I used to eat a lot of Pollo Loco.
Always been a fan.
Taco Bell extra hot sauce on the Mexican pizza. Jack in the Box because my mom loved their tacos.
Unfortunately, there was one tiny problem for Markle. Martha came with a built-in fact check. Yes, Martha acknowledged that she was sitting at the same table as Meghan, but that doesn't automatically mean they were sharing soup and swapping secrets. It simply means Meghan was sitting somewhere near Martha's plate. That's not necessarily friendship. That could just be assigned seating. So give Martha Stewart some credit. Meghan arrived with her carefully polished mythology, while Martha arrived with something much more dangerous: the facts.
My cooking style is really relaxed. I grew up in California, and so, as you know, we have incredible produce. So I think you just start to really love farm to table at an early age. My mom's an incredible cook, and I grew up watching so many cooking shows. So I taught myself how to cook, how to get creative with what you have, and yeah, I just love it, and I love being able to nurture through.
And that gets right to the heart of the issue. How does Meghan Markle go from actress to royal cameo to Duchess of Montecito and lifestyle entrepreneur? That kind of transformation doesn't happen overnight. Look at Martha Stewart. She didn't wake up one Tuesday, throw on an apron, pose beside a panini, and announce that she had suddenly discovered homemaking. She built her reputation brick by brick, spending decades mastering her craft. Cooking, gardening, farming, writing, entertaining Martha built real knowledge and turned it into an empire. That's the difference. Meghan can chase the Martha Stewart image, but authority usually comes from expertise. You can't skip the beginning and demand the ending. No sacrifice, no sweat equity, no years of learning and no shortcut can magically replace the work. Martha basically said out loud what critics have been arguing for years.
I just like using really pure natural herbs and spices. You know, again, if you can pull fresh herbs like, do you say herbs or herbs here?
We say herbs.
You do?
Meghan's biggest public problem can be summed up in one word: authenticity. It's not a filter, a logo, or some clever brand strategy. It's the real version of you, the part that can't simply be rewritten whenever the cameras turn on. It doesn't matter whether the camera's rolling or the outfit changes. Authenticity is difficult to fake for long. You either come across as genuinely yourself, or people start questioning the performance. And one of the easiest ways to spot that tension is to listen closely when someone talks about their memories. Most people have one childhood. Meghan's stories, critics argue, can sometimes sound like they come with multiple versions. One day it's Jack in the Box, another day it's fresh food from Farmer Fred. Same childhood, completely different menu. And that brings us to Meghan appearing on MasterChef Australia, a cooking show where chefs do something pretty straightforward. They talk about food. One question put her right in the spotlight. Chef Christoph Neville asked a simple question that almost any parent could answer.
What makes you feel bread?
My daughter. Every day when I feel a little bit like, oh gosh, can I do this? I go, Lily would do it.
What do you cook for your family? He didn't ask her to explain molecular gastronomy. He didn't hand her a fillet knife and demand she debone a Chilean sea bass while reciting a famous chef's recipes backward. He didn't even ask where the children were. He simply asked, what do you cook for dinner? What do you make at home? Yet the woman who presented herself as a domestic lifestyle expert on her Netflix series couldn't immediately name a signature dish. Not one. And that awkward moment says a lot about what happens when the image becomes bigger than the everyday reality. Eventually, someone asked a simple question that can't be answered with a polished smile, a carefully chosen photo, or a bowl of decorative ingredients. That was the tough one. When I first heard Meghan's response, I honestly thought, okay, maybe she's trying her hand at comedy. Seriously, that was the tough question. For someone whose name is attached to a cookbook, that should have been an easy one. Houston, we have a soufflé problem, because the supposed Montecito kitchen maestro appeared unable to name even one simple family meal. Not mac and cheese, not ham and eggs, not even toast. Give us something. You've spent years presenting yourself as someone who loves cooking, and now you have another personal recipe book reportedly coming at the end of 2026. Just give us one signature dish, anything. But did Meghan do that? No! Instead, she took the conversation on a detour and started discussing how Australians pronounce the letter H in the word herbs. Let's be clear, she wasn't being asked to solve a global crisis. The question was simply, what do you cook for dinner? Yet the answer somehow disappeared. 11 seconds later, we still didn't know what the family actually ate. But hey, at least the great H and herbs mystery had been addressed. That moment also feeds into a bigger question about the polished Montecito lifestyle image.
Can you explain, for those who don't know, what the Invictus Games are?
You do this one. No, you go first. What? You go first. No, because you're the one who's lived it.
Critics have long wondered how much of the everyday family routine is actually handled by Harry and Meghan versus their support staff. And that same pattern seems to show up in their entertainment projects. Take the movie Cookie Queens. Whatever their involvement, they certainly knew how to put their names and public profile alongside the project. They didn't need to write every scene, direct every shot, or operate every camera to make sure they were visible around the premiere. Suddenly, there they were, ready for the spotlight. And now for the box office reality. The Duke and Duchess of Thin Mints may have generated plenty of attention, but the movie reportedly opened in around 444 theatres and brought in roughly $328,000. Its closest competition was Cat Video Fest 2026, literally a collection of cat videos. It played in about 255 theatres and reportedly earned around $569,000. Translation: let me put that Hollywood language into plain English. Harry and Meghan had their movie playing in more than 200 theatres, yet it reportedly lost to a festival built around cat videos. That's a brutal headline for any celebrity project. A film about 4 young girls selling Girl Scout cookies somehow became a promotional vehicle centered heavily on Meghan Markle and her own advice. You can almost picture it. A child asking for life guidance, while the celebrity delivers a polished lesson about success. I can imagine the scene. Grandad, you need to expand your portfolio into pork bellies and defense contracts. Now, could you please open my juice box? It sounds ridiculous, but that's exactly why the promotional strategy raised eyebrows. That's what the Cookie Queens campaign seemed to highlight. Children standing in line and asking a major celebrity about her views on life. Instead of the focus staying entirely on the girls and their experience, Meghan became a major part of the conversation. You really couldn't script it better. And at least we now have a new punchline. Harry and Meghan's natural box office predator might be the humble house cat. But, jokes aside...
Hi, my love. Hi. My husband's here.
It still leaves the bigger question. Why does the couple keep struggling to connect with the public? For that, Martha Stewart offers an interesting contrast, because she built her reputation around years of actual work. Meghan often appears to treat different roles like costumes. Put on an apron to signal that she cooks. Show the rescue chickens to signal compassion. Post polished reels to signal happiness. But eventually, the image can become so important that people start questioning what's underneath it. Harry has faced a similar credibility problem, although his focus has been different. His public identity is closely tied to Invictus. Yet whenever detailed questions come up about the games, critics argue that he sometimes seems less prepared than expected. And that's where the credibility gap becomes impossible to ignore. There it is. The Montecito marriage in miniature. Ask Mrs. Wannabe what's for dinner. No clear answer. Ask the public face of Invictus about Invictus. Suddenly, Harry seems happy to let someone else go first. The contrast is hard to miss. It might be comedy if the subjects weren't so serious. Meghan presenting herself as a home chef is one thing. It may look awkward, but it's ultimately harmless. Invictus is different. It was created around wounded and injured veterans, so questions about its money, leadership, and public image deserve serious answers. That's why critics have been asking about the cost of the Games. A report on the 2025 Games cited spending of about 63 million Canadian dollars for 543 competitors. That works out to roughly 116,000 Canadian dollars per competitor. Naturally, people want to know where that money went. Veterans deserve transparency, donors deserve transparency, and the public deserves transparency.
This is great. So we're mine.
And if Harry is trying to encourage the King to support future games in Birmingham, then the palace should have every reason to make sure the finances are properly reviewed before lending additional royal credibility. Nothing damages public trust faster than unanswered questions about money. There has even been a Change.org petition calling for Harry to be removed from Invictus, showing just how heated the debate has become. So how does Harry respond to all this criticism and controversy? Critics say the pattern looks familiar: limited public explanation, little engagement, and a tendency to move forward while the questions remain. Similar concerns have been raised around his involvement with other organisations, including African parks. And then there's the celebrity image machine. As we say in Greek, Malphus Phio Taui Sigma Epsilons. You illuminated us. Thank you, Harry. At this point, maybe there's another title that belongs on the resume. Professional Harry. I'm being harsh for a reason. Last week, one question really hit me. What is the worst thing Harry has done to his family? And that question deserves a much closer look. Was it the media battles, the public criticism of his family, or the way private family drama became part of the public conversation? Was it chasing headlines or putting his personal choices ahead of the monarchy? All of those were serious, but for me, they still weren't the worst. For me, the hardest part was what happened with Queen Elizabeth. Harry's decisions put her in an impossible position, forcing a choice between her role as queen and her role as a grandmother. God bless her, she chose her duty. No matter how you look at it, Harry's choices followed his grandmother through the final years of her life, right up until her death. That is something I personally find difficult to forget. For me, relationships are pretty simple.
Yeah, I did change. Harry?
Harry?
Age?
Age? Occupation?
Full-time dad. British Army veteran. Prince of England. Duke. But for today...
I'm a black and white kind of person. Loyalty, love, and honour. Without loyalty, there can't be real trust. Without love, there's no strong family bond. And without honour, relationships eventually fall apart. That's something my Bapu taught me. That's him right there in the picture, the way I'll always remember him, my king. And there's that black and white photo of my Bapo and grandmother when they first came to America. Before he passed away, my grandfather made me promise him two things. First, take care of the family. Second, if a particular man ever showed up at his funeral, the same man he believed had seriously damaged his business and betrayed his trust, I was, to make sure that person left. I gave him my word. That's me a few months before he passed. Then came the funeral. Halfway through the service, guess who showed up? The man arrived offering condolences, as though years of betrayal could simply disappear when the occasion became solemn. I didn't hesitate. I confronted him and gave him two choices. Leave peacefully, or I would have to physically remove him. He chose wisely, but some people around the service turned to me and said, "George, you can't do that. You can't be rude. You can't interrupt a funeral." I said, "No, the funeral is exactly why this matters." Even my fiancé at the time warned me, "If you're going to make this move, there's going to be trouble between us."
Joanna! Oh, got tears in my eyes! I can see! Fantastic! Fantastic! What a surprise, Alistair.
I told her, "Then maybe you chose the wrong man." You don't know me, because the man I loved lying there made me give my word. I break that promise for no one. That's loyalty, that's love, that's honour. Everything else is window dressing. And the real test doesn't come when the sun is shining and everything feels easy. It comes when keeping your word can cost you something. So when I see Harry trying to work his way back toward the royal family, I don't necessarily see a prodigal son simply looking for a family hug. I see someone trying to rebuild his position while also protecting his financial future. And entitlement isn't cheap on either side of the Atlantic. Right now, Harry and his legal team face a reported bill of around £34.5 million, connected to the court battle involving Associated Newspapers, according to claims circulating around the case. That's a staggering amount of money to deal with, especially while maintaining an expensive public image. And then there's Meghan's carefully constructed lifestyle brand. Meghan Kelly asked a pretty direct question: when will Meghan Markle finally get the message? For my 2 cents, the answer may come when the celebrity spotlight stops delivering the attention she expects. Until then, the Sussex brand seems determined to keep climbing the Hollywood ladder in reverse. Honestly, I can't remember seeing two people start with so much opportunity and then generate so much controversy around themselves. Just look at the last week. In the space of a few days, the Montecito lifestyle brand found itself tangled up in a public moment involving the real Martha Stewart. And seriously, who picks a public fight with Martha Stewart? That's like walking into a kitchen with a butter knife and challenging someone who has spent decades mastering the entire culinary arsenal. Martha has decades of experience, powerful industry connections, and a reputation that doesn't need much introduction. Going after that kind of heavyweight can turn a small disagreement into a much bigger problem. But now, new reports are claiming that Meghan Markle may be planning her response to Martha Stewart, with some suggesting she could try to compete directly for part of Martha's lifestyle market. If that happens, my money is still on Martha by knockout. Round 1, experience, reputation, and decades of knowing exactly what her audience wants. And you know why Martha has the advantage? She seems comfortable being Martha. That's the whole point. Harry and Meghan, meanwhile, have spent years navigating different public identities, and that constant reinvention can make people wonder who they really are. So since Meghan just turned 45, I thought I'd offer her a birthday gift. Happy birthday, Meghan! It's not jam, balloons, or another designer bag. I'm giving you some advice. Stop auditioning. The parts you keep chasing are already taken. You can't be Princess Diana. You can't be Princess Catherine. Oprah is in her own lane, and Martha Stewart has spent decades building hers. Why not just try being Meghan? Drop the comparisons, forget the costumes, and build something that belongs entirely to you. Because the one role nobody else can play is the real you. And that's where I'll leave it. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe, and tell me what you think in the comments. Who do you think has the stronger brand, Meghan or Martha? I want to hear your take.